Hi everyone, welcome to our KMGN annual course on strategy. On our journey, actually it's not only strategy, we call it strategy as a short name, our journey from strategy through change management to impact. And today we'll be discussing on a very crucial topic, may I say, on how to think KM business aligned in what we choose to do and how we do it and how we speak in all aspects. But I won't take the time now because, I can speak hours about that wonderful and so important session. And we have here an expert on business aligned KM, Pavel Kraus from Switzerland. Dr. Pavel Kraus, he is a well-experienced knowledge manager for something like nearly 30 years now. And he is the president of the Swiss KM Forum. So, Pavel, we thank you for joining us, and the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Maria. I just have to quickly get all of this under control. So,
please just, flip it. Now we see the presentation.
Yeah, it always takes few seconds to do that. So welcome everybody. Thank you very much for the invitation to talk about a very dear topic of myself. And I am going to present one of the newest methods which we have developed within the KMGN area. What we hear, or what you will hear today, is the idea how business-aligned knowledge management and the new knowledge management storytelling canvas really belong together. And here we have a short summary, which at the end of the day, we want to convince executives about knowledge management and have impact on the business. And this is the topic of this course this year. If we have time, I have a small bonus talking about KPIs that speak the business language. We will see. So my short profile, what I have done for many years, I have learned, I call it the trade in the pharmaceutical and medical device industry. I was within the marketing research, transferring knowledge between customers and research and development and marketing. And this journey, or these issues which I have experienced, how it is difficult to transfer this knowledge from out of an organization into an organization that would have impact. That really made me aware and sensitized to knowledge management, to knowledge transfer. And I have been president of the Swiss Knowledge Management Forum until last year. And also I am teaching knowledge management and innovation management, which are closely related at various universities. Now, my journey in knowledge management, I started as a member of the Geneva Knowledge Group, which has been around Professor Gilbert Probst since mid-90s. They have developed, or we have developed, the so-called knowledge management building blocks. And throughout the years, we have developed various models which all serve to clarify and explain knowledge management. If interested, you can download it with the link below. And today we are going to talk about this model, which is the latest one. And all of these models, by the way, have been derived from experience on actual knowledge management projects. So they are very much experience driven. Now, how did we get here? So within the KMGN, we had a hackathon in 22. And out of this hackathon, there resulted 3 projects, and one of them being the Business Aligned Knowledge Management project. We had altogether various people working with us, and Manfred and myself have led this project. We have had various stages, but the final launch of this project and also of the tool was last year in Berlin with the GFWM Knowledge Camp. Now, of course, there are various kinds of knowledge management. You can have all of those which I have written here, but the focus of our knowledge management is really on profitability and productivity. So while there are many other options, I am focusing, and we have been focusing, this knowledge management endeavor really on business or governments or NGOs. That's the focus. Now, as we always work also in groups, let's start the first question here. What has been your personal strategy to obtain or secure KM projects? We will have 6 groups, as usually 8 minutes. In the Miro, there is a prepared canvas, and you can put yourself in the shoes of either being an employed knowledge manager or a consultant that is looking for contracts.
I now shared the link to the specific frame, to the specific area, and I'll open the breakout rooms. Please feel free to take both shares, both roles, whatever you feel convenient, and then flip if you still have time. Here we go. Please continue.
Okay, and I am going again to share my screen. Now, as you have seen, there have been many different ideas, and it will be very interesting now to compare these ideas with what we are now going to discuss as next, because we have, at least in our group, we had very specific ideas. We have also general ideas altogether. So for me, it will be also interesting to see what other groups have done. Now, what we should always have as a goal is impact. And now here are some results which we can really talk about with executives. Classical one is shortened time to market. Here we have done a project which resulted in estimated value of 36 million. Or going much faster in resource planning. Again, one can calculate, and this was actually done in a business case with quite good number savings per year. Or one can also do it a little bit differently to look, can I increase capacity of my employees? And in one project for a call center, this resulted at the end of quite a number of significant savings in case that people would have to be hired to do and to cover the 16,000 customers. So this is something where one can look at, okay, if we can achieve such an argument, we definitely have somebody in the executive level who will listen. And now let's turn to our story building. How to build a story. to show knowledge management impact. And interestingly, in our group, in the breakout group, we already had exactly this point. So we start with pain points, with something that is happening, and which also, and this is very important, it has to be well known within the organization. So when you are gathering these issues, it's not something out of space, it's something really people talk about at the coffee table. And then one put it in a logical structure where we start here on the bottom with a knowledge problem, and we work ourselves until the top, which really the C-level managers understand very well. So this is the basic idea also for the knowledge management storytelling impact. Now, how does this look in detail? So you start on the bottom. And because we are knowledge managers, I think our most frequently used issue is we have no knowledge somewhere among employees, wherever. And this is the starting point. And then we look on this specific lack of knowledge, and in this case, it's market knowledge, actually. It could be, however, different type of knowledge. And then we look at what is the root cause? Why is it there at all? And there we see that in this case, customer needs have been unknown or they have been falsely obtained. And this is the root cause. So this is the next level. And then we go from this in 3 steps with consequences of the first order, consequences of the second order, then consequences for business. And at the end, we end somewhere which really managers understand. So this is how it would look as a whole. So this is the whole story in a way. It is something, by the way, what you see here is not a story you would tell. This is basically your preparation. This is your tool, how to actually make the story. And the story can be told in a very clear, quick way, maybe even as an elevator pitch, 120 seconds. And we end up with, here in this case, financial risk for the organization. And this is something some of the managers really understand, and it's their primary concern. So now, if you look at this, one could just create the story. What happened? Why have been these customer needs not really well attained? And because there was just not the possibility that R&D received the right information. And because this was happening, product requirements were not well enough specified. That whole development was misdirected. And at the end, when the product reached the market, customers didn't see any need to buy it because they just didn't want to use it. It was just not fit for their needs. Result again, and now we are kind of leaving this, we will go to the business consequence. The market did not accept this product and we had financial issues. So this is the logical path for a story. Now, this is the knowledge manager's perspective, and this is really maybe not the main one. For us, we can really understand this as knowledge managers. We build it in this logical way. However, if you want to address it to your client, to your knowledge management client, who is somehow either giving you the job or giving you the assignment as a consultant, you start from the top. You start with something that is occurring. And here again, we have the same story. but in a reversed order. So we begin with what is really concern of the executive and work our way down until we end up with lack of knowledge. And this is the way how to really address it, because that's where we want to be. We want to have the attention. And when you go to a top manager and say, you know, we experience now this setback in our business, and now we have this issue you talked about, but let me quickly explain how this actually happened. And then you have few minutes time to explain it, and you can go and do it in this way. Why is this making sense like that? Because the power of arguments for executives is, as you see the arrow to the right, what is for them of high interest is going from top to bottom. We have the problem as knowledge managers always often that we are still staying down there, talking about knowledge, about maybe some tools, about some processes, maybe about governance, maybe about document management where information is not found. But this, who cares from the top executive suite about that? What they care about is what is on the top. And as we've been working on this project, we at the end said, well, how do we really get the attention of these top executives? And we said, well, all these guys have some kind of goal, some kind of MBOs. Usually their salary is depending on reaching these goals. And this is exactly where we start. In my experience, I have been working for large companies many years in the area of knowledge management. We never had problems asking our clients, executive people, to give us their MBOs. So we knew exactly what they have agreed to achieve. And this is usually where we started to work the project from. And it was usually immediately we had attention of these managers because we said, look, you agreed to reach these goals. Now we will do that in this knowledge management project. And then you definitely have the attention. Now, when we have been presenting this with Manfred at the European Knowledge Management Conference, we got at this point a question. And the question is, now, where does knowledge management come into here? And we said, and this is what I have visualized here, all of these boxes where KM is on, we can do something with knowledge management. Each of the box has a classical issue, and it is the role of knowledge managers to have enough techniques, tools, experience to do something with the issue of this box. That's why it has the KM label on it. And this is, of course, something I am not covering today because that's not the topic. Our topic is how do we begin the arguing for knowledge management. This would cover a complete different session, which techniques are, for example, useful when product requirements are not sufficiently specified. They are workshop designs for that. They are rhetorics. They are design thinking elements, which are really geared towards resolving this issue. And so is all the others. And this is now the proficiency of a knowledge manager to master all of that. Now, what you have seen here is one path. And what you see here is the actual canvas populated with various options. So in our previous example, I have used those things which are now linked with the red thread. However, if you are going through an organization and if you are gathering issues, again, I have to repeat, all these issues have to be well known inside the organization. So it is not somehow invented. It is something that has been happening. It was an issue and people really know and talk about it. So with all of these issues, you can just populate this canvas. We call these things talking points. And you might gather even more. Doesn't really matter. In this storytelling canvas form, you can just do whatever you want. But now you have various options. You have the option which I showed in detail before, or you can link the issues in a different way to create a different story. And again, this is like an example for a second story, and you can have even a third story. It doesn't really matter. Now, what, however, matters is the story which you are going to present has to be tailored to your specific knowledge management client, whoever that is. Because it could be maybe somebody in the financial department, it could be in research, it could be in development, it could be in marketing, sales, it could be in supply chain, wherever. All of these people have different perspectives, and you tell one single story that really they understand and they can really relate to within their own domain. I think I better explain again. This populated canvas is not to be shown to the executives. This is a preparation canvas for you to tell the story. So this is, I think, very important. The logic here is for you. The elements here are also for you, but you can just tell the story freely without any slides, because what you want, like in such an elevator pitch, you just maybe want to get more time with the executives until say, this is interesting. I never thought about it like that. Please come and tell me more. This is the objective of such a story. Okay, maybe this is now, from now on, very trivial, probably. Maybe I go back and open the room for some questions. If any.
May I say that there were several comments on the chat, and I think that can be a base to our discussion, thinking about reputational risks and what are your pain points. So if you can address these, that would be wonderful. We have two of them, from Josephine and Stephanie.
Okay, somehow at the moment I am not able really to find those. Maybe you will tell me.
I can tell you, but do you see the chat? Can you see the chat?
At the moment, no. It somehow got lost.
So I start slowly. But I'll ask Josephine. Josephine, do you want to present your comment?
Yeah, sure.
Think about it? Yes, please.
Yeah, no, it was just to say that because I think, I mean, at the top of your pyramid, you have the financial risks. And I mean, I'm coming from a non-profit background, so I feel like all of this is very private sector focused, of course, in this example. And then from my experience, also reputational risks, political risks are also very good, compelling reasons to launch KM project. So I just wanted to add that as well. Financial risks, of course, as well, but these more soft kind of risks also can really raise leadership's buy-in to like launch KM projects.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is a very good comment. By the way, financial risks, I think if you think of your donors, of the people that spend money, that give money to your NGO, you might have also financial risk on the top. This is not really only for private organizations. But I take your point. Together with Manfred in the project, we have identified, I think, half a dozen of such top pyramid issues which cater for all types of organizations. And at the end, I think we are going to share a link to all the material you can download, to all the guidelines and so on. And there you will see all the various other possibilities. I think what we have agreed on during the project is that anything that deserves to be on top of this pyramid has to secure the survival of the organization. That's basically the benchmark. So it makes it to the top. Okay.
I think the term you used in the slides, threat, it's not a knowledge threat, it's a knowledge-based business threat. And business, of course, is also for non-profit organizations.
Very good. Thank you, Moria. Yeah, exactly. That's it. What was the second question or comment?
Yes, please. So we have here, we have some additional ones already. So Stephanie, can you speak up, please?
Yes. Hi.
Thank you.
Yeah, my comment was about as you were documenting the stories, it's really about getting close to the people who are doing the actual work and asking them, please, like part of it is how do you extract these things, and then like where are your pain points, where does knowledge get stuck, document those problems, and I think as you're constructing the story, what you're helping leadership do is understand what it's like across the organization, because sometimes there's a disconnect between leaders and the people doing the work. Like leaders think everything's flowing smoothly across the organization, and so I think that and then the reality is very different. So I think that can help with the storytelling by highlighting where some of these pain points are and then how you are proposing to address them through a knowledge management perspective.
Yeah, thank you very much, Stephanie. This is exactly the point. As you walk through the organization, you really have to talk to people who do the work and collect the issues from them. I think that's a very important point. Yeah.
And
what
I
else?
think that there was another point here that you spoke about taking into consideration the audience, but we thought about different audience of marketing and CEOs and different types. I think that there was a very important point here that the real business pains, the high level management does not always see them as threats because they think that things are working better than they really are, at least the knowledge gaps. So maybe they see the threat, but don't see the knowledge gap. Maybe they see the threat, but think about it differently than it actually is. So you have to bridge this gap as well. That's what I took from here as well, as an additional point.
Yeah, the threat is maybe one way how to look at it if it's understood. However, what should be always understood is what the executive has to achieve to get his bonus. And we can start already there as well. So it's either or. Usually, these personal goals of the executives are closely linked to something that the organization has to achieve.
Wonderful. Let's continue on. Anahit, Anahit also wanted to add something. So Anahit, please take the stand.
Thank you so much. Very, very interesting one. But I would note that for public organizations, it's vital just not to lose reputational risk yet, because so they accept us like being Central Bank of Armenia. So we need to have transparency and we communicate with public. So knowledge management is very, very important for not losing just reputational risk in the bank. So this is the most important I wanted to note.
Yeah, I like all these additions because they really show that whatever comes on the top has to be really related to the specific organization. So please regard this filled out canvas really like only a template and put on the top whatever your organization wants to achieve.
Yes, and then
what else is there?
Okay, let's continue now. Thank you. With Jana and then Josephine.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mariah and Pavel. Really helpful. I posted on the chat something we're grappling with at the moment because it's like the upper management does not see a problem. But we as knowledge managers working on the ground see it, that if there's a knowledge gap that are invisible. We know it, we feel it, but we can't really articulate it in a way that our upper managers would understand. Case in point, communities of practice on digital platforms. And myself, I would say we need a community manager and we need sustainability plans so that if people would move out of the organization, the community of practice would persist, meaning the management of the practice will persist. But they said, no, this is existing. There's no problem in it. We continue the way we are doing. But then how do we convince them that there is a problem if we don't think of sustainability planning? And I really love this graph. But yeah, that's my grappling point. It's not financial. It's an invisible problem. My question is, how do we tell a story about that invisible problem? Thank you.
May I add long-term problems? Because
Sure.
they see the now and here.
When I answer Jana, I have developed guidelines how to build communities of practice within larger organizations. One of the critical issues by justifying COP is again the link to some goal of the executives. If this is not possible, you have really hard time to do that. But I am convinced it's always possible. Again, get the MBOs, the personal goals of the executives, and relate to those and show where the gathered knowledge of a community would fit in. And it's your job to close this gap. And I am sure it is definitely possible.
Thank you.
Okay, we had one more. Oh, no, I think that every else, in addition, are agreeing or raising. So I think we can continue on.
Okay.
Pavel.
I like very much everything that has been asked, because this goes exactly to the next slide. So here, as I said already, your story depends on to whom you talk to. And the question, of course, is where is this person in the organization? And the most important thing here is that the foremost people who really want to achieve something that is on what survival of the organization is dependent are usually in the green middle sector here, which are the core value processes. This is where the organization is achieving impact, and impact again is the name of our course this year. So if you can look for executives within the core processes, that's the green part, and only secondary all of the support processes. Now here is just one slide who have been my clients in successful KM projects. And if you run down this list, you immediately see that most of those, except one, are all of the green middle section. Because all of these guys have really key goals for the organization. I have worked also for governmental organizations. Usually it has been various heads of departments. But I think this list is much more clear, at least for the business.
Before you continue, we have here Phil, who sounds very frustrated, saying that you present wonderful ideas, but too many times management won't listen.
If management doesn't listen,
he gives an example of the of the digital disruption and the Kodak that missed and failed to pivot. But I think that this is I think that not all our managers are idiots. They are smart and they want to succeed, and they are busy with many things. And many times it's us and not them. We have to speak more in their language. And yes, sometimes they won't listen because they don't want to listen, because they are so busy in other things. But maybe you want to add something else. Yeah.
I would like to add what I have on my next slide, because it fits perfectly. You know, there are certain prerequisites to do all of that. And so that means you have to really be within a company and know it very well. You have to understand all the various processes and how they interconnect. And the second last point, you have to have excellent relationship to employees and executives. You must be able to walk in and out their offices. And this takes time. Sometimes it takes, I don't know, 5 years. But that always depends where you are, what you want to achieve. And maybe at the end of the day, maybe you are in the wrong company, just change the company. I mean, this is, I know the frustrations of people that want to achieve something, it just does not work. So, it's not on us to change the whole world. We just do small pieces at a time. My personal kind of, recipe was, I have been over 20 years part of a research and development team. I was not there all the time, not all the 20 years. I've been on and off, but I was at the end regarded as a team member, and people shared everything with me. And most of my KM projects I got at the coffee table. So this is very important. What does it mean to do and to attain all of projects? Then the role of a knowledge manager, I think I mentioned it already. It is, you have to be able to go and to bring solutions to the various issues that have been identified in the canvas. And this competencies is what it takes to be successful. And I mean, there are maybe not so many courses. It took me personally 10 years in Roche pharmaceuticals and in Roche Diagnostics to really understand the business. And then I changed to knowledge management only then. So it takes some time, but the skills you need are not, not out of the world. So, final slide. Before you leave today, here is what you have to do. You have to answer these 3 questions, and just to see where is your personal opportunity, and to turn it into a story that people start to listen. This is, by the way, thank you, Moria, for suggesting such a slide. I think this is important. One has to really take the first step and say, now I will go for it. I think before we would continue, let's ask, or let's look if there are any more questions.
Oh. No.
Okay, then what I would like to quickly talk about are the KPIs which speak the business language, because this is somehow a never-ending topic. And here we have really to look from 2 different angles, from the business, or for NGOs, from the organization, and also from the perspective of a knowledge manager. And this is an actual analysis of knowledge management issues within a large operational organization, production organization. And if you look at these items, like the first biggest one, access to documents and information, and the knowledge sharing community of practice, and so on and so on. What do you think? Is this analysis helpful? Can we do something as knowledge managers here? I have seen many of such analyses, and I can tell you this is, except one, they are not helpful at all. Which one is helpful? Who is able to pinpoint the one that is really helpful in the context of our topic today? Anybody? Anybody wants to try? Which one?
Turn this graph into a story.
No, here are issues, and I am just asking which of these issues should we actually turn into a story? Which one?
Maybe the knowledge sharing community practice one?
No, definitely not.
Lessons learned.
The biggest part of the graph.
Knowledge sharing. And as
You see-
often as better.
No,
The answer's none of them.
No,
None of
transition
these
is
is
leading to
compelling enough
Transition
from a
that
strategic
leading?
purpose.
Or all of them?
no, it's
Transitions leading to loss.
exactly.
There's a loss here to
Exactly. That's the last one that is correct, because the only single issue in this graph is really something that would interest an executive, maybe transitions leading to a loss, because it was loss in resources, loss in money, anything. And this is exactly why many of those analyses are not helpful at all. And I have to go back again to what is interesting, what has the power to convince executives. And here you have a whole series of KPIs or measures which are really talking to executives. And on the bottom are something like beneficial propositions or activities implemented. Now, what does this actually mean? Beneficial proposition is tool improvement, or maybe number of activities is lessons learned. How many lessons learned have you done? Has nothing to do with what is interesting for executives. They want to have completely different type of results. They have to have cost savings, time reduction, productivity improvement, processes. That's what is of their concern. And this is where the business logic of KPIs has to get in. When I started as a knowledge networking officer at Roche, we had the task to improve project management in research and development, and specifically in new product development. And this is what we have agreed. We said we must not invent any new KPIs. So we use the classical approach, only those things which have been always used in the organization, because that's believable. And in our case, it has been 4 KPIs: time to market, cost, feature creep, and availability after launch. And we have only stick to those 4, mainly to the top 2. And one of my most favorite KPI is mean time to repair, because mean time to repair has all the aspect of knowledge management, because you have to have the knowledge of the repair engineer on the spot in front of the analyzer. And if this is not possible, he has to ask a colleague and to get the right answer. And if nobody knows, has to turn to information, find it, understand it, and learn it. And all of that has impact to how much time does it take to repair an instrument. Yeah. So what comes next? Here you have 2 categories, and here you see left, that's what is of matter of an executive, and on the right-hand side, those which are important for a knowledge manager. And all of those, they have to be combined in a knowledge management project. But if we talk about convincing executive, it's only the left-hand side.
Of course, aligned with the organization needs, if we're speaking about nonprofit organizations, that
yes,
it's not that these are not correct, but there are additional ones.
Of course, yes. You know, but I am presenting this as an idea, as a template for additional things. And again, you have to know your client. You have to know how to talk to those and what is of their interest. And then we end up again on their bonus. So thank you very much for attention, and we are almost at the time.
Wonderful. We are exactly at the time. Thank you so much, Pavel. As I told you all, Pavel is not only an experienced KMer, but he is an expert on business aligned KM. And of course, he has additional ideas on this topic. 1 hour won't do it all. Next, we are now ending our first cluster speaking about strategy. And next week, we will start speaking about the change management program. If we understood what we want to do and we want to start the program, we can't build it and they'll come. So we will have several sessions speaking about how to build the program, how to run the change management program. And we will be waiting to meet you all next week. Thank you all.
Thank
Maybe-
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Pavel.
Bye bye.
In case
you.
anybody has more
Excellent
questions,
session. Thank you.